GamingBolt presents the top 30 best PS4 games of all time. Ever since it launched in 2013, the PlayStation 4 has been on a roll. It not only has shipped over 86 million units, but it also houses some of the best exclusives out there with some of the best visuals. If you're keen on hopping aboard the PS4 train, then take a look at 30 of its all-time best titles, from pretty good to outright great. DRIVECLUB. Evolution Studios' DRIVECLUB had a pretty rough start with server issues and glitches making a lot of the content inaccessible. Nevertheless, the developer stuck with it, improving the experience, adding more content, and branching out into different ideas like bikes. By now, DRIVECLUB stands as one of the better racing experiences out there, even if it isn't as hyper-realistic as, say, Gran Turismo Sport. LITTLEBIGPLANET 3. Remember when Media Molecule released games on a semi-regular basis? Well, LITTLEBIGPLANET 3 wasn't made by them. Instead, they helped Sumo Digital and the game released for PS3 and PS4 simultaneously. If you've played the previous titles, then the emphasis on creating everything from levels and characters is still there. Even with a disappointing adventure mode, LITTLEBIGPLANET 3 is easy to get into and pleasant enough to whittle away the time. TEARAWAY Unfolded. By comparison, TEARAWAY Unfolded is a straight 3D puzzle platforming experience and a remake of the original PS Vita title. Navigating a world made of paper, players are tasked with delivering a letter. Of course, strange things and beings are afoot, so it's up to the player to set things right along the way. You'll be navigating environments, unfurling secrets, casting the spotlight on several places, bouncing on pads, and so on. It's an easy, likable experience that feels good to play. Gravity Rush 2. Perhaps one of the more underappreciated PS4 exclusives of last year, Gravity Rush 2 sees Cat and Raven returning. The scale is much larger this time as players shift gravity to soar through the skies or battle foes, including the returning Nevi. With different gravity styles, destructible environments, and Raven fighting alongside you, Gravity Rush 2 is a unique platformer that's most assuredly not for those who get motion sickness. ODIN Sphere LEIFTHRASIR. Released simultaneously for the PS3, PS4, and PS Vita, ODIN Sphere LEIFTHRASIR is a remake of the original classic. The gorgeous visuals are crisper and more vibrant than ever, while tons of new content has been added. New enemies, new bosses, new stages, and even an overhaul to the game's systems await. There's a lot to enjoy, especially if you haven't played the unorthodox action RPG when it released for the PS2. Next Machina, Death Machine. Arcade is dead. Long live arcade. Housemarque's Nex Machina Death Machine is as arcade as the experience can possibly get. Eugene Jarvis of Smash TV and Robotron 2084 fame served as creative consultant, and it shows. The top-down shooter features fast-paced action, lots of bullet hell segments, and a bevy of power-ups to go along with all of the flashing effects. If you're not afraid of some old-school shoot-'em-up action, Nex Machina is where it's at. YAKUZA KIWAMI. With Yakuza 0 providing an excellent way to get into the series, Sega set about remaking the first Yakuza game. And while it may have some unevenness, the effort put into Yakuza Kiwami is incredible. The annoying English voice acting is gone, replaced with a full Japanese cast. A new Majima Everywhere system keeps players on their toes at all times, while the story has been cleaned up and bolstered by new plot lines to make it all fit together better. Infamous Second Son. Infamous Second Son missed the PS4's launch, but it still showcased the machine's power several months later. The open world of Seattle felt alive thanks to the lighting and attention to detail. As it stands, movement and combat were also great, even if the morality system was showing its age. Infamous Second Son provided a decent open world experience for those hankering for superhero action. Yakuza 6: The Song of Life. As the first game in the series to use the Dragon engine, Yakuza 6: The Song of Life delivered in the graphics department. Fortunately, it also featured the same memorable side quests, the excellent setting, and an emotional story that finally put Kiryu to rest. Though it might not be the absolute best in the series, Yakuza 6 is certainly close enough and a remarkable send-off for fans. Gran Turismo Sport. Does it have the widest selection of cars? Well, no, but Gran Turismo Sport is a racing sim and an extremely good one at that. There are 177 cars and 27 track configurations in the base game, but that's not including the oodles of post-launch content like new events, new tracks, new cars, and so much more. Even if it isn't the snazziest, Gran Turismo Sport is Gran Turismo at heart, and really, that's more than enough. Street Fighter V Arcade Edition. Street Fighter V is yet another title that was disappointing at launch and improved through subsequent updates. The Arcade Edition is its biggest yet, bringing in arcade mode and extra battle mode along with a new V-trigger for each character. Characters from Season 1 and 2 are also available, buffing the roster impressively. For Street Fighter fans, it's a worthy redemption for the troubled fighter. Guilty Gear Xrd Rev 2. As the most recent content pack for the game, Guilty Gear Xrd Rev 2 includes all previously released Revelator content along with some new stuff. That includes rebalanced fighters, 2 completely new warriors, hefty story and arcade modes to explore, along with all of the stylishness that comes with Guilty Gear's fighting system. If the overcomplicated plot doesn't do it for you, then Medal of Millionaire, aka Mom Mode, will provide hours of survival fun. Detroit Become Human. David Cage's games may be about choice, but deep down, they're meant to be narratives with a message. Though Detroit Become Human lays it on rather thick and may not be the most competently handled story, the narrative reflects the rippling effect of your choices pretty well. Of course, it doesn't hurt that the visuals are excellent and the characters are mostly enjoyable, even when they're self-destructing in their own ways. Until Dawn. Until Dawn may seem like a schlocky teen slasher flick, and it kind of is. However, the game itself proves to be a compelling cinematic experience, even if the frame rate can be a bit iffy. The visuals are fantastic and always on point. The script constantly keeps you engaged, and there's a fair bit of mystery to unravel. That's not even getting into the task of trying to keep these crazy kids alive. Rez Infinite. For its time, there was nothing quite like Rez. All these years later, and Rez Infinite proves that gameplay still stands the test of time. The on-rails shooter employs synesthesia, with music and visuals seamlessly blending together. It's a gorgeous experience, and Rez Infinite adds the new Area X mode to allow one to freely roam. Head into the PlayStation VR if you want a special kind of trip on top of everything else. Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. Nathan Drake's journey may be over, but Uncharted: The Lost Legacy is still an awesome adventure. Starring Chloe and Nadine, The Lost Legacy combines the cinematic platforming and gunplay of the series with open-world elements. The result is an intriguing mashup, one that augments the already solid gameplay of Uncharted 4 while standing on its own. In terms of expansions turned into standalone games, Uncharted: The Lost Legacy does things right. Ni no Kuni 2: Revenant Kingdom. In development for years and keeping up its high bar for graphical quality, Ni no Kuni 2: Revenant Kingdom is a lively showing. Tasked with rebuilding his kingdom, Evan travels the massive world, garnering allies and engaging in skirmishes with armies. That's not including the battles which employ real-time action RPG-like combat. Despite some rough spots, Ni no Kuni 2: Revenant Kingdom is one of the best RPGs currently available for the PlayStation 4. Ratchet & Clank. Don't call it a remake. Insomniac's Ratchet & Clank is actually a reimagining of the first game. Featuring vastly superior visuals, this is like a retelling of the initial story while implementing the best elements from other games. The result is a smorgasbord of action platforming that's simply impossible to resist. If you haven't played it, do yourself a favor and pick up Ratchet & Clank today. Thank us later. Yakuza 0. If you could point to a recent turning point for the Yakuza franchise, then Yakuza 0 may be it. It wasn't just a breakout success, introducing a new generation to the finer aspects of the series. Yakuza 0 took us to the origins of it all, introducing us to Kazuma Kiryu and the side-quest-laden Kamurocho. With phenomenal attention to detail and a nuanced take on the Yakuza, not to mention all manner of bizarre side stories, the game served as a great game overall. The Last Guardian. Team Ico's games have always had a personal touch to them, but The Last Guardian is perhaps the most emotional. It focuses on a boy and a creature named Trico as they work together to survive. The relationship between them is a core focus of the story as they learn to trust each other and eventually battle the mysterious forces of the valley. The Last Guardian may have some technical hangups, but from a storytelling point, it's worth experiencing. Shadow of the Colossus. Bluepoint Games received acclaim for its remaster of Team Ico's original action-adventure. One look at the visuals will tell you why. In this generation of gaming, Shadow of the Colossus looks simply awe-inspiring, delivering a visual aesthetic that's hard to match. The gameplay and story, with players hunting down massive colossi to revive Wander's love, also stands the test of time. Yakuza Kiwami 2. A remake of what many consider the best Yakuza game in the series. Yakuza Kiwami 2 has it all. A war is about to erupt between the Tojo clan and Omi Alliance, and an excellent new antagonist, Ryuji Goda, emerges. Of course, the Dragon Engine is on hand for some beautiful graphics as well. With the clan creator and combat from Yakuza 6, Yakuza Kiwami 2 is an even better version of the original, which is certainly saying something. Nioh. Not quite Dark Souls, not quite Ninja Gaiden, and with a dash of Diablo thrown in. Team Ninja's Nioh was definitely unique, taking the danger and stamina management of the Soul series while throwing us back to demon-infested feudal Japan. Though it doesn't quite have the level design or world building of Dark Souls, Nioh is simply fantastic with its boss battles, combat, customization, and sheer campaign length. Persona 5. Persona fans knew the next game would be good, but did anyone expect Persona 5 to be this good? Did they ever even see it coming? While some may dislike the pacing in some places or prefer Persona 4's cast, Persona 5 still delivers in so many ways. The battle system is fast-paced and snappy, but also has room for strategy and planning. The story and themes make for a memorable experience, whether you're making social links or exploring the depths of mementos. All in all, Persona 5 is just so stylish and alive that it's hard to resist its charm. Spider-Man. Insomniac's Spider-Man may seem like your archetypal open-world action title. With plentiful side content, towers to unlock, and random crimes to stop, you're seemingly ticking off boxes on a checklist. However, the addition of Spider-Man is only one piece that makes this puzzle so great. Manhattan is its own entity, teeming with life and recreated in gorgeously faithful fashion. The story utilizes the same icons we've seen over the years, but still tugs at our heartstrings. Spider-Man invites you to be greater and witnesses the world through the eyes of a superhero. Surprising no one, it works amazingly. The Last of Us Remastered. Though it originally released on the PlayStation 3, Naughty Dog's The Last of Us Remastered is too important of a PS4 title to ignore. The visual improvements are stellar, but they also draw us further into the saga of survival, sadness, and family than before. Whether it's the sheer impact of its moments, the deftly handled character interactions, or the gritty action, The Last of Us Remastered is an unflinching yet compelling look at post-apocalyptic humanity. Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. This is the end. Or is it? For Nathan Drake, Uncharted 4: A Thief's End doesn't symbolize the death of the legendary hero. Instead, it's the last epic journey of highlights and action that fans deserved. It's the happy ending and promising new beginning that Nathan and his family deserve. Above all, it's a beautiful and well-paced action title with great environment design. Uncharted 4: A Thief's End may not be the best Uncharted in the series, but it's definitely the best conclusion they could have asked for. Horizon Zero Dawn. Constructing a massive open world with a meaningful narrative and compelling side quests, each with their own characters, dialogue, and interactions, can be tough. Horizon Zero Dawn doesn't just mindlessly ape The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt though. It instills a sense of mystery and exploration, combining platforming with Monster Hunter-style hunts and crafting. A sprawling epic in a gorgeous post-apocalyptic world, Horizon Zero Dawn's various influences merge together to create a unique entity, one that stands proudly among the open-world greats. Bloodborne. Yharnam, a Victorian-style city teeming with beasts and blood. Fear the Old Blood rings out as a warning. In the midst of this nightmare, the player is dropped in, battling beasts as a hunter and trying to decrypt the madness consuming the city. What has blood transfusion wrought upon the city? These mysteries will hound you amidst the brutal boss fights, fast-paced combat, and suppressive environments. Bloodborne is daunting and unforgiving, but also beautiful and rewarding if you really take to it. God of War. Developing a sequel for a critically acclaimed franchise on a new generation of hardware is one thing. God of War is a whole lot more though, delving deep into the psyche of Kratos and his relationship with Atreus, while Norse epics play out in the background. The emotional core of the journey belies the stellar single-take cinematography, marvelously complex combat, and beautifully designed world. When it comes to PS4 exclusives, it simply does not get better than this. And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from GamingBolt, you can always hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon next to it. That way you will never miss any of our videos.